a man a gun, he can rob a bank. Give a man a bank, he can rob a country. You are being robbed, that is someone's job. Rob me, I don't care. My government is always fair. You are helping the
How
government.
many people were there that day?
Well, it was just me.
Just you?
We're a very small occupation, so a lot of the time it really just, takes somebody to go test the waters or check something out and then, report back to everybody else, hey, I got this new idea, let's go do this, and
Okay.
really protest. Because a week prior to me actually getting arrested, I met with a presidential candidate for the Green Party and some of the, Jill Stein and some of her other people, and some of the people from Occupy Philly, and me and all the people there went and we stormed the bank and shut it down, and it was a pretty good day. And I had to leave before the bank closed, but after a closing of the bank, Jill Stein and some other people were arrested for refusing to leave. But it was a pretty amazing day, and it was pretty moving to a lot of people in Easton, and we were thinking we might want to do a similar action or something along those lines, like possibly do a more serious like civil disobedience or direct action. And yep, I was carrying the two signs. The one thing that the media got wrong was that I went into the bank holding the sign that said "You're being robbed." However, that wasn't true for Wells Fargo. I didn't show that sign at any point. I had the sign that had the long message that said, "Give a man a gun, he can rob a bank. Give a man a bank, he can rob a country." And the other sign was hidden behind that sign so no one could read it. And the back side of that sign said "Revolution." So if you were behind me and just happened to catch a glimpse of it, you'd see the word "Revolution." And if you were in front of me, the only sign you'd see was the sign with the long message. And the video footage would back that up. And that's one of the reasons I really hope that the trial and everything happens and I can actually get a hold of some of this video footage. Because it just makes it, it shows how ridiculous it really was that I got arrested.
How many banks did you visit that day?
Oh, I went into two places because in downtown Easton we have two banks that we normally protest that are right near each other. Wells Fargo, which is in Center City, Easton, and then Bank of America, which is just a couple blocks over.
Okay. And then what happened for that first bank?
Well, when I walked in, I literally opened the door, took about one step in so that people could just read my sign. Let them read my sign, and it was a pretty good reaction. Nobody said get out, nobody said leave, nobody looked at me real angry. So I just pretty much gave it enough time for people to read the sign, and once you see people's eyes start to wander and stuff after they are done reading whatever you're holding. So the second I saw that, I'm like, oh, that's a pretty good reaction. Nobody really yelled at me or freaked out or said we're going to call the cops, so it might be a good area to protest again in the future. So I left the bank, and then I started to walk past the police station on my route to Bank of America. It had multiple police cars pass me, just because it's a police station right there, and they're just always doing stuff, and just got ignored by all the officers. And then from Wells Fargo, I went to Bank of America, pretty much did the same thing. Don't want to go over full detail of exactly what happened to Bank of America, because I'm pretty sure that's what my court case will be about.
Right.
But it was generally the same thing. And I actually had a teller come out, which I'm pretty sure was one of the main people at that Bank of America location. And she said to me, excuse me, sir, you're not allowed to protest in this bank. I'm going to call the cops if you don't leave. So at that point, I left.
How long do you think you were in there, if you had to guess?
Not more than a couple minutes. It was very brief.
Okay. So
because it wasn't like a real protest. It wasn't like I'm going to sit in this bank and close you guys down, or I'm going to sit here with my sign so people can read it. It was just sort of like, hey, how would you guys take me walking into the bank with a sign?
Right. Okay. And you're outside?
Yep, I left when I was told, and then I actually live in downtown Easton, so my house was pretty close. And I started to walk towards my house, and then I saw some officers starting to pull towards Bank of America. So I changed the course of where I was walking and approached the officers, because honestly I differ in opinions from some other people, but I approached the cops. I'm very friendly to them. I think they're our comrades, and that they just need to realize, just like I said before, they're getting screwed over just as bad as us.
Right.
on our force. We're a small town, so the mayor knows me by name. The chief of police knew me by name.
Have you ever been in trouble with the law?
Nope.
Okay.
Zero criminal background.
Okay.
In record.
Okay. So that you saw them start to come, and so you walked towards them to find out. Okay. So you had no idea that somebody had called the police on you.
Oh, no idea. They started walking up. So, like I said, I walked towards them. The one cop put out his hand. I shook his hand. He said, "Hey, Dave, what's going on?" I'm like, just the usual, protesting the banks, yada, yada. And at first, it was just normal conversation. The last thing on my mind was I'm about to go to jail. Because that day, like I said, I had specifically tried to make sure I didn't do anything illegal. So I was by myself. I wasn't really trying to, do a direct action or any act of civil disobedience or anything like that.
Right.
And then after I was talking to the cops for a little while, the Express Times, our local media, showed up. And the second they came out of the car with the camera, the cops handcuffed me and put me in a car. And the picture that went viral on the internet was the picture that they took right as Express.
So the same police that shook your hand and were asking you some questions were the ones that did the arrest, or did other cops show up? Okay.
No, it was the same cops, but a lot of other cops showed up as well. They made a big deal out of it and had a ton of people there. But I asked if I was being detained, and no answer was given to me. They pretty much brought me to the police station, and then I had my bail hearing. And the police were not really talking to me, not really telling me why I was there, what I was being charged with, anything of the likes. And I was just in pretty much shock at what was going on. But they brought me right to the bail hearing, and they refused entry to everyone to my bail hearing because people had found out about this really quick. News spread instantly, and people were protesting outside of the police station in Easton, trying to get me free and trying to figure out what the circumstances were. And I think about 35 people was what I was told were trying to attend my bail hearing were just denied entry. And then at my bail hearing, legally, they're supposed to let me acquire bail and make a phone call. I was denied the right to a phone call, and they didn't let me try to acquire bail, and they brought me right to prison. I was off bank property, and I had started to walk. I really hadn't gotten that far. When I saw the cops, I just changed directions and then walked towards them. But my arrest pretty much happened right on the edge of Bank of America property outside the bank. But I left on my own free will.
Okay. If you take a plea deal, you're basically saying guilty, right? And taking a lesser time? Is that...
Yeah, pretty much. And that's one of the reasons why I'm definitely against taking a plea. And one of the reasons I'm dead set on not taking a plea is even if they tried to give me, the disorderly conduct, I wouldn't take that because the only instructions given to me for what I did was, "Excuse me, sir, you can't be in here, you need to leave or we'll call the cops." And at which point I said, okay, and left. So,
yeah. Okay.
I'm not too familiar with the law, but I know with all my original charges, I was facing almost 50 years in prison, which was just absolutely ridiculous.
So what were the charges?
2 counts of attempted bank robbery, 2 counts of terroristic threatening, and 2 counts of disorderly conduct. But I guess the DA recommended that they drop the attempted bank robbery charges, but in all the new paperwork that I'm getting, it's still got the bank robbery charges on it and everything, so I don't know if, at my pretrial is when they officially drop that and go by the DA's recommendation, or if that's still up in the air, or...
Tell me what the charges were again? Two attempted robbery charges?
Huh?
They have 2... Tell me what the charges were again that they put on you the first...
It was 2 counts of attempted bank robbery, 2 counts of terroristic threatening, and 2 counts of disorderly conduct. If you go on my wall, or somebody actually just created a page for me on Facebook for dropping all my charges, I had posted the actual document that the court had sent me that has all my official charges. It's the most recent documentation I have.
Okay.
But that's on my wall. Well, the charges that were dropped were supposedly the attempted bank robbery. So I'm not really sure, like I said, how that works with the legal process and everything. Right. But it's still on my paperwork. But
So they kind of threw the book at you, trying to send a message.
Yeah. I'm not really sure exactly what happened. Whether it was just a really, really horrible reaction on the Easton Police's part, and they just didn't know how to deal with the situation that they created for themselves, or if it was a pre-planned thing to silence the Occupy movement, or I'm not really sure.
Right.
But
good for you for standing up. I admire you, because we all know the banks have paid big money to have extra security. I mean, they don't want anybody on their doorstep. A lot of the arrests have been at Bank of America. And the thing is, they did get bailed out with taxpayers' money, and so we have a right to protest. What was the feeling in Easton with the Occupy movement? Is it fairly large, or how? What was the atmosphere?
We had a good deal of community support. When we first started off, we were meeting down at Scott Park, and we were having some decent-sized events. We kept meeting up, eventually ended up having a 24/7 occupation. We were actually the smallest 24/7 occupation in Pennsylvania, I believe.
Wow.
For the size of the town. But we were pretty solvent. I was actually pretty astonished on how well we ended up keeping everything going. We actually were totally green, had solar panels running, and we were zero burden on the taxpayer dollar. We got a lot of community support because we set up our occupation in a plot of land that was known for hookers and drug dealers, and a place where everyone sort of just brings their dog to crap and not clean it up.
Yeah.
Just like we moved in, it sort of you saw the bad elements start to disappear, and the whole part of the neighborhood got cleaned up, and we started picking everything up and making it nice, and there was a lot of support in the community for us being there and just cleaning up the neighborhood and making everything better. So
when did you start? When did the Easton Occupy start? Do you remember? The month?
I wasn't with them in the way beginning, but they started shortly after Occupy Wall Street did.
Okay.
There was pretty much a bunch of people that were following that. The day that I joined them was I was a little hesitant to join and see what it was about at first, because I'm skeptical about other organizations, and how serious people are, how devoted to causes people are, and like things that are actually like real and practical. Like we see things like the Tea Party, it's just like a sham. But like I said, I was hesitant at first to join them, and I wanted to see really like how serious people were. And but one day it was snowing out, and I was actually riding my motorcycle in the snow, and I rode past Scott Park, and there was all the occupiers standing in Scott Park, and the snow just freezing. So I was like, you know what? It seems like these people are pretty serious. Go join them.
Used to live in my hood. He ran away to the woods. Is he being misunderstood? Is he being misunderstood? Last time, come on, give a man a gun. He can rob a bank. Give a man a bank. He can rob a country. You are being robbed. That is someone's job. Rob me, I don't care. My government is always fair. You are helping the government. The government is helping the bank. I am helping you, but who is helping me? Where is Robin Hood? Is he being misunderstood?